Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to completely dismantle the biggest financial myths that are, quite frankly, keeping people chained to their desks way longer than they actually need to be. We're diving deep into the data, the strategies, and the exact steps that everyday people use to step away from the daily grind, literally years ahead of schedule. Let's get right into it. Now, you might be wondering, why is it that some people can pull the plug and retire at 55 while others are stuck grinding it out until they're 63 or older? Most of us just naturally assume it's got to be a massive income, right? Or an extreme savings rate, or maybe they just got insanely lucky timing the stock market. But here's the secret. The data shows us something completely different. It's not about any of those things. It really comes down to a very specific set of behaviors. The core of what we're looking at today really boils down to this insight from the source material. Compressing your retirement timeline by 5 to 7 years requires an entirely different playbook. The traditional advice you hear from most financial planners, that standard glide path to hitting Social Security at 65, that's just not going to get you there. Because early retirement, it's not an accumulation problem, it's an income sequencing problem.
Okay, let's map this out. We're going to cover the single number myth, the gap and bridge numbers, building the income bridge, unlocking the tax paradise, health as a financial asset, and finally, stress testing the plan.
All right, Section 1, the single number myth, deconstructing the $3 million trap. The financial industry basically trains us from day one to chase this one massive, super intimidating number. $2 million, $3 million, $5 million. It's exhausting just thinking about it.
Take a look at the stark contrast here. Under the single big number paradigm on the left, that giant looming target is exactly what traps people into working 5 extra years they totally didn't need to work. It takes two completely different financial problems and just lumps them into one giant paralyzing mountain. But if you look at the two-number paradigm, every successful early retiree does something different. They separate their financial timeline into manageable, totally solvable problems.
Moving right along to Section 2, the gap and bridge numbers, which introduces behavior 1, splitting the target. Now watch how the math instantly changes when we do this.
So this number right here, that's what we call the gap number. A lot of people look at their total retirement spending, let's say it's $100,000 a year, and assume their portfolio has to be massive enough to cover all of that, forever. But guess what? It absolutely doesn't. By age 67, a couple with a solid earnings history is looking at around $50,000 to $70,000 a year in combined Social Security benefits. So if your lifestyle costs $100,000, your portfolio is really only filling a $30,000 to $50,000 gap. If you use a 5% withdrawal rate, you actually only need a portfolio of about $600,000 to $1 million for this. Definitely not the $2.5 million you were taught to chase.
But wait a minute, what about the time before Social Security kicks in? Well, that brings us to 12 years. This is the bridge number. Say you retire at 55 and claim Social Security at 67. You've got this 12-year window where your accessible cash really has to do the heavy lifting. The absolutely crucial point here, and honestly what most planners completely miss, is that this money does not have to last 30 years. It literally just needs to last 12. You can draw it down completely by design without even touching your long-term gap portfolio. Once you stop asking, do I have this giant total, and start asking, do I have enough for a 12-year bridge, the whole thing goes from impossible to totally solvable. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, building the income bridge. Behavior 2, accessing the funds before 59.5. Because let's be real, knowing your bridge number doesn't automatically solve the problem of getting to your cash. How exactly do you get your money if it's locked away inside retirement accounts? Well, early retirees solve this access problem way before they actually hand in their notice, and they use these 4 specific tools to do it. First up, taxable brokerage accounts. This is the most accessible money in the entire system. No age restrictions, no early withdrawal penalties, nothing. Second, we have the rule of 55. Basically, if you leave your job in the year you turn 55 or later, you can take penalty-free withdrawals directly from that specific employer's 401k. Third is 72T periodic payments. Now this one allows for calculated, penalty-free distributions from an IRA well before 59.5. The math is a bit rigid, but it is a massive unlock. And fourth, Roth conversions, which we're going to dive into in just a second. Put them all together, and these tools create this incredibly seamless income bridge, making early retirement feel financially identical to just getting your regular paycheck.
Now we arrive at Section 4, unlocking the tax paradise. Behavior 3, the dead zone arbitrage. And listen, this behavior right here, this separates early retirees from everyone else by the absolute widest margin.
So what exactly is this tax paradise? It's that magical window of time from the exact day you stop earning your W-2 income all the way until required minimum distributions hit at age 75. You are sitting in the absolute lowest tax brackets you will ever see in your life. During this window, Roth conversions stop being just some boring math exercise and literally become the single highest return on investment move in your entire financial plan. By strategically filling those low tax brackets every single year for a decade, you can shift hundreds of thousands of dollars out of future taxation. That allows your money to just sit there and compound tax-free for the rest of your life. It's huge.
And get this, that low-income window, it solves another massive, terrifying problem: healthcare. So many people think the gap between 55 and Medicare at 65 is this impassable financial wall, but it's not. Sure, defaulting to COBRA can cost you around $2,000 a month. Ouch! But once your W-2 income stops, you are completely in control of your realized income. By carefully managing what you show as income to stay under the right thresholds, those Affordable Care Act marketplace subsidies kick in. Suddenly, that $2,000 a month bill can drop to around $600. We're talking about $250,000 saved over a decade. See, healthcare isn't a wall at all. It's just a planning puzzle with a very solvable answer.
The final massive benefit of this tax paradise and early retirement window is sequence of returns control. Look, the 5 years right around your retirement date, they are absolutely the most dangerous. A bad market drop then can permanently cripple your plan. But by unlinking yourself from chasing one massive number, you gain the power to just step away when market valuations are actually reasonable. Think about it. If you're grinding until 62 purely because you need to hit an exact dollar amount, you are basically forced to retire into whatever market happens to be waiting for you that day. You're flipping a coin with your life savings. Retiring on your own structured timeline gives you the control to say, nope, the market's good, I'm out.
All right, so this all builds up into a really unexpected but honestly provocative turn. Let's look at Section 5, Health as a Financial Asset, Behavior 4, the biological cost.
I want you to zero in on this number right here, 14 years. World Health Organization data shows us that our healthy life expectancy is around 64, while our average total life expectancy is closer to 78. That is a 14-year gap where, sure, the body is still here, but the physical capability, it's just not, it's declining. Most traditional retirement plans are quietly just funding this 14-year window of decline. A bigger financial portfolio is not going to magically expand your healthy window, but the decisions you make in your 50s absolutely will.
This right here is the biological cost of working those extra years just for a slightly cushier bank account. Let's compare the 55-year-old optimizer to the 62-year-old grinder. The optimizer leaves the high-stress job, sleeps a solid 8 hours, trains 4 days a week, and eats real, nourishing food. When they hit 65, they show up with a totally different cardiovascular system and cognitive baseline. Their health literally compounds. Now look at the 62-year-old grinder. They endure 7 more years of crazy cortisol levels, garbage sleep, and endless stress. They kick off their retirement from a severely degraded biological baseline. Those extra working years, you paid for them in physiological capacity, a currency that does not have a refund policy. $1 million of extra savings cannot buy back your knees, your sleep architecture, or the sheer energy you spent acquiring it. Successful early retirees treat their health as their absolute most critical financial asset, period. Okay, finally we reach Section 6, Stress Testing the Plan. Behavior 5, Calm Execution. This is the behavior that takes all these awesome concepts and turns them into an actual, rock-solid reality.
You know the difference between early retirees who totally thrived and those who absolutely panicked in year one? It wasn't confidence. It was pure, unadulterated preparation. Long before handing in their notice, they tested their portfolios against historical worst-case scenarios. We're talking a 30% market drop in year one, 5% inflation spikes for 5 straight years, sudden long-term care needs for a spouse, and unpredictable changes in those ACA subsidies. Because they ran these tests, they built dedicated medical funds and stacked up 18 to 24-month cash reserves. That way, they literally never had to sell off investments during a market downturn.
And they managed all this by creating predefined triggers. It's brilliant. Step 1. If the market tanks, automatically reduce discretionary spending by 15%. Step 2. Pause those Roth conversions if the market drops 25%. Step 3. Strategically shift spending from taxable accounts over to Roths to protect those vital ACA healthcare subsidies. So the absolute crucial point here is that having these predefined triggers completely eliminates real-time panic. If you make scared, reactive decisions in year one, like say claiming Social Security early out of pure fear or making reactive IRA withdrawals, That can cause up to $80,000 in totally avoidable compounding damage. Calm people simply make better decisions than scared people.
Which leaves us with this final lingering thought. Early retirement is not about just having a bigger number in the bank, it's about having the right behaviors applied in the exact right order. So I want you to really ask yourself, are you working to accumulate more wealth, or are you actually paying for it with your health? Take a step back, reevaluate your timeline, run that 2-number test for yourself, and take back your most valuable asset. Thanks so much for learning with us today.